What's going on, guys? My name's Corey Kamori and welcome to Video Game Wednesdays here on the Breakdown channel. And in today's video, we are going to be discussing my top 5 all-time favorite hack and slash video games. So without further ado, let's get into this top 5 list. Before we get into our main list, here are some honorable mentions. First up for our honorable mentions is Dante's Inferno, which was released on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Now, Dante's Inferno, like some of these games on this list, was kind of a clone of God of War and the formula that the Sony Santa Monica Studios came up with for God of War. And basically, it was a highly cinematic hack and slash video game where you were parading through the hordes of hell, through the 9 circles of hell in the epic poem Dante's Inferno. It's loosely based on that poem. It is not like to a T, this is exactly what this is about. So they do take some liberties there, but I think the liberties that they take work for a video game, and they actually are able to make a pretty compelling story out of this game. And overall, the game was a lot of fun. However, it wasn't fun enough to get up onto my top 5 list. Also on our honorable mentions list is Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Now, Castlevania Lords of Shadow, I recently picked up. It was one of those games that I missed, and I was really surprised that I missed it completely and was disappointed that I didn't get it when it first came out, because this game is a lot of fun. Again, very much similar to the God of War formula that Santa Monica came up with. However, I really think that Konami and Kojima Productions in particular were able to add an extra cinematic element that this series really needed. For me, the tone was really interesting. It was cool to see the worlds. The art style at times reminded me of Guillermo del Toro's art style in all of his films, especially in some of the scenes of Hellboy 2. The artwork and the art design of this game very much reminded me of some of the latter half of the Golden Army film. So with that said, again, not quite good enough to get up on the top 5 list, but still a very good game. I highly recommend you guys check it out. Both of these games are really cheap now. You can go out and check them out for like $10 each. All right, so now it is time to move into number 5, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Now, I know what you're thinking, a licensed video game on this list. Yes, and you're going to see that a couple of other times on this list. This is one of the best licensed games I've ever played. It is one of my all-time favorite hack and slash games, and it is just a lot of fun to play. Each movement in the video game mirrors a section from either Fellowship of the Ring or The Two Towers, and it captures the vibe and the feeling of Peter Jackson's adaptation of the Lord of the Rings books. Everything down from the graphics to the art design to the sound design to getting the actual actors from the films to be the characters in this game. And the gameplay itself is just really simple, but at the same time is incredibly entertaining. And it is just, it's so much fun to just pick up that controller, have your 3 to 4 attacks and dodge buttons and all the stuff mapped out in a very simplistic manner to where you're just thrown into this world and the art design and the sound design, and you really feel that sense of immersion with this game. It's cool to be able to pick up a game that's very simple to play, yet the world and the atmosphere is what's doing all the work, and this is one of those games that does that perfectly. Number 4 on this list is Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. Honestly, when this game first came out, I really didn't know what to expect with it, because there have been some great Star Wars games and there have been some terrible Star Wars games, and thankfully this is one of the greats in my opinion. It's kind of unfortunate that Disney has decided to go in and retcon a lot of the older storylines with the books and everything, but I really feel like this is one of those cases where it was a mistake to not try to bring this one into the overall canon that is Star Wars, because it is a great storyline first and foremost. This game has a great story, the characters are interesting, the acting is well done, the animations, the facial animations on these characters is also really well executed, and the gameplay is so much fun. I mean, I cannot tell you how entertaining it is to use force powers to lift up stormtroopers, cut them down, and electrocute Jawas and throw them into trash heaps. and fight against these gigantic Star Wars creatures like Rancors and ATSTs. It's a Star Wars fan's dream come true. You really truly feel like you are a Jedi or Sith Lord in this case. And if you have not checked this game out and you are a Star Wars fan, I would highly recommend checking it out. It is one of my all-time favorites. Moving on to number 3. Oh my god, another licensed video game, but another awesome video game. We have Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor, for me personally, takes everything that the Assassin's Creed games has always tried to do, and it perfectly evolves everything from the formula that Assassin's Creed has put forth. It evolves it to the point where it's unrecognizable, and it's fun, and it's streamlined, and they really have just gotten this formula for this game down perfectly. You can do your stealth kills, you can run in and just fight hordes of orcs with your badass fucking wraith abilities. The graphics are fantastic in this game, in this world they've created. It's interesting because they've taken the basic look and feel of the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings films, and even games like Two Towers, Return of the King, Third Age, so on and so forth. However, they've taken it a step further in creating their own idea and world view of Mordor itself, because honestly, we really haven't seen that much of Mordor even in the films. Like, we've gotten brief glimpses of what it looks like, but it's interesting to see what they do with this game visually, expanding on the concept of what Mordor is and really making it feel like it's a fleshed out place. And the combat in this game is fucking perfect. It takes everything that Rocksteady did with the Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, even Arkham Knight games, and for me, really fine-tunes the mechanics of that gameplay to where you feel like a complete and utter badass. And when you are mowing through people, there's nobody that can stop you. And it is one of the best feelings that I've ever had playing a video game. Moving on to number 2. And this one might be a little controversial with people because there are some people that love this game. There are some people that do not like this game and prefer the earlier iterations. However, for me, my number 2 best hack and slash video game of all time, Diablo 3. Diablo 3 is just one of the best video games, period, that I've ever played. Everything from the way that the world looks to the acting. The storyline is a little iffy and it's not very interesting, and that is probably the weakest aspect of this game. However, the world and the lore of this world is really interesting. It's visually really enticing to me. I love the art style, and I love all of Blizzard's games, and I love the art style that they're able to establish with all of their games and their universes, and I like how they have a similar vibe and style about them. But really, for me personally, Diablo 3 just takes all these elements of visuals, sound design, voice acting, and it throws it into this really nicely polished hack and slash package to where you're running around and you can spend hours, and I've done it, you can spend hours, like 6 hours playing this game, and it feels like you've only been playing it for an hour, maybe 2 hours at most, because the gameplay is so well refined. It's so addictive to go run around and look for loot and get your awesome weapons, armor, and new abilities, and it just keeps you wanting to come back for more. Even after you beat the game, there's so many things that you can do afterwards that just bring you in, make you want to stay within this world, and bring other people in as well. I mean, myself and my fiance and my friends will just sit down and play this game and just have a blast, because it's one of those things where you don't have to think too hard while playing it, but it's really rewarding. It's a lot of fun to relax and just sit down and have a good time playing this game. And it does everything that I feel a good hack and slash game should do. All right, guys, and now it is time to move on to my number 1 pick. And I kind of cheated with the number 1 here, but I think you guys will agree with me that all of these games kind of have to be listed when you're talking about a hack and slash game altogether. And that would be the God of War series. God of War as many people know, and you can even see it on this list, created an idea and an evolution of what we've come to know as hack and slash. There have been so many games that have tried to emulate God of War, because God of War created a formula and a way of creating games that was cinematic, that was engrossing, that was fun, that was easy to get your hands on and master, but at the same time also presented challenge. There were great puzzles in the game. The storylines were awesome. The acting was fantastic. The way the world looks is incredible. The interpretation of Greek mythology in this game and this game series as a whole really, for me, is the perfect way to represent Greek mythology. It shows this off in this huge, larger than life way that makes you become engrossed in this world, whether it be fighting against giant titans or fighting against the hordes of different monsters that they present to you. This game never gets boring. It's always incredibly imaginative with the way that you're able to kill characters, the way that the monsters look. And for me personally, it's one of the best written video games in all of video games. And I feel like for me personally, it is the perfect package when it comes to creating an enjoyable, engrossing, imaginative video gaming experience. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite hack and slash game is. Was it on this list? Was there something that I left out that I should not have left out? Have a conversation with me in the comment section below. Let's talk about this shit here. As always, I have been Corey Komori. Thank you so much for watching, and please hit that subscribe button so you can check out more videos very soon.